you, because that helps you. That kind of just builds this really positive and good vibe where you can thrive and flourish. But like if you surround yourself with people that you don't like, just for the sake of surrounding yourself with people, that just becomes a really negative spiral. So be diligent about the people that you keep around you, but simultaneously, try to keep an open door policy, so that way, because you never know what might happen. I mean, we met, and it was the most random encounter, right? In a class, because I went up to you just to talk, just to introduce
it was
myself.
So weird.
It was a weird intro.
He literally cut off a conversation between me and my friend. Like we were just having the conversation. He was sitting in the back. He's like, "Oh, you guys are Hispanics?" I was like,
"Yeah."
That was.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Back again. Another day, another morning. Right? Not evening this time. So we'll just jump right straight into it. Quick disclaimer: this is a conversation between me and Mike for entertainment purposes only, and that's it.
All right. Good morning, everybody. We have some interesting topics today. For the personal development, we have why. We're gonna dive into that in a bit. On the fitness section, we have should you do steroids? This comes kind of like piggybacking from yesterday about strength. In finance, why is there so much level of interest in cryptocurrency? And some news update, of course. All right, so let's jump right into it. So why? All right, so I chose this topic because I watched this post of this AG thing on Instagram, and it really caught my attention. It's by Google, so we're gonna watch it. Those that have watching us on YouTube, you can see it as well. But for those listening the podcast, the audio, you can just see the
go watch the YouTube video.
that also too. No, but the audio also is like really good. It should be fine. Maybe I thought about this. Cool. All right, right here. I don't know if you watched it already, but here we go.
No.
The most human trait is to want to know why. And in a year that tested everyone around the world, why was searched more than ever.
The spread of the coronavirus has passed a significant milestone.
And while we didn't find all the answers, we kept asking. Some questions inspired joy, others excitement.
Life in the bubble.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I don't know what an improper fraction is.
Teacher should make $1 billion.
We found toilet tissue, y'all.
Oh my God.
Put it on there and start it up for me.
What are y'all doing? It's still March. How many days in March?
Some questions made us cry.
We've been through our ups and been through our downs. I think the most important part is that we all stay together throughout. I love you guys.
Some made us worry about this spinning rock we call home.
Fires were detected in the Amazon rainforest.
Why were so many lives lost?
Almost 1.5 million people have now died of COVID-19 worldwide.
Why are we still asking the same questions?
George Floyd repeatedly told the officers that he could not breathe.
So why do we still have strength to continue?
I believe in your power. I believe in our power.
Chants of Black Lives Matter echoed from thousands of protesters in cities around the world.
Why are we not defeated?
We have made too much progress, and we are not going back. We are going forward.
planes are starting to arrive in Beirut full of international aid.
Firefighters from around the world arriving in California. There are over 100 coronavirus vaccines in development worldwide.
This is one of those times when people look out for one another and have each other's backs.
We kept going for those who showed us the way.
Think about how you would like the world to be for your daughters and granddaughters.
Remember, the struggles along the way are only meant to shape you for your purpose. Press on with pride and press on with purpose.
Why is it that this year showed its worst and we still found ways to triumph?
An incredible feat for Maya Gabriela.
Naomi Osaka, U.S. Open Championship.
Can't let Corona stop you. Can't let quarantine stop you.
So until we get to every answer, we're still searching.
All right. Not to advertise Google, but I think this has a really, really powerful message. And but yeah. So what do you think? So why
cool.
this question? What's up?
So that was really cool.
Yeah, no, to be honest, when I watched it, I was like, damn, this carries a lot of weight. Maybe just because this year has been crazy and we're wrapping up it's already December. But what kind of like calm attention is that question? Why is that question so important? And I feel like, remember when we talk about parallel realities, we kind of dive into the topic of like being skeptical, but at the same time not too much. So how does this play a role in our daily lives? Why the question why is so powerful, I think, in everybody's life.
I mean, like I was saying there, we're just trying to figure stuff out, right? And I don't know, because like the topic itself, it's kind of like really broad, so I don't even know where to take it from. Let me see.
So just watching the video, what do you think?
I mean, like I get it. It's just like, you know, we're really inquisitive. Like, the human race is always questioning everything. So that's, you know, it's what we've gotten to this point in our life, in our society, with all the advancements that we've made. And I would say that, you know, it's important to always be questioning stuff, because that's one way to approach it. Yeah, bro.
Sorry, I can jump in. Like for me, I'm into philosophy as well, like a lot. And like I remember I used to talk to this with one of my friends from Ecuador, and she's a psych major, right? And she told me that, you know, like a human being, we ask three basic questions: who I am, like what is my purpose, and why I am doing this. So like, why am I living the present moment? So those are like three basic questions of like philosophy. But the why carries more weight, because if we find out like, why am I here? Like, why am I present? You can literally answer the question that who I am and what do you want in this life as well. All right. So what I found really interesting about this is that, like, I'm guilty. Like, I'd be like quite like, you know, Googling all the time. I'm a computer science major. That's literally my job. Not really, but yeah. So I'll be Googling all the time, and most of the times when I come like through an error on my code or something, I ask, you know, why is this error happening, or why I'm going through this, or like why this is not working. You know, that question has become like hard, like, so it's so powerful. And like back in the days, like philosophers such as Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, all of them asked the question why, to try to define like the purpose of why we're here and why do we exist. So like I feel like that question played a huge role when I was like also finding myself about like, you know, my likes and dislikes and who I am, what is my purpose. So I think it carries a lot of weight in our kind of like in our progress as human beings in this universe. But this is getting like a little bit more philosophical, but you know, it's self-development. And I feel like putting it here was like a little kind of like a little incentive. But
gotcha.
You know, just be skeptical about like the things that you see. Like, don't believe the media, don't believe everything that you hear, don't believe things that you're not sure about. Like, do your own research, and depending on like how deep you want to dive into this question, you can do more research about it, like who invented it, because there's actually a person who had invented it. And yeah, that's actually another topic, like first times of first times. Like, imagine going like the first time of something. Like, who brushed the teeth for the first time or something like that. Kind of interesting. Or like, why do we do this? Why do we have to sleep? Or why do we? I mean, like the answer is obvious, but like there are questions that, you know, for me until right now, it's very. I'm still a bit skeptical about. For example, religion is one of those, but we're not going to talk about that because religion gets offensive. Or like that place on the universe. Like, why is this number the distance between the sun and the earth if we've never been there? So there are questions that, you know, you can be skeptical about and probably never find the answers for, but you gotta learn to live with it. And that's, you know, what it is most of the times. That you confront the situation, you go through some hardships. You might not know the answers at the moment, but the experience itself is going to teach you that why it had to happen to you, and you know.
Right. So here's taking piggyback off like skepticism and all that. Why did Google create that video? What was the purpose?
It's definitely to advertise the search engine, but also to connect and kind of like do a recap of 2020.
Right. Okay. And do you think that was like, was it powerful? Do you think that was catching you enough to want to use the search engine, even though you already do?
I mean, regardless, I use the search engine already, but the thing is that I feel like another purpose it might be to share that their privacy, it's, you know, you shouldn't concern about your privacy, that you questioning things are right, are kind of like it's nothing out of the universe. But yeah,
there's one thing that video kind of showed, and it was like a global community, so that was pretty cool. That was interesting, right? Because oftentimes we can get a little caught up in just, you know, our day-to-day lives in our little world, in our little bubble, and forget that, you know, we do now live in a global community. It's no longer just our little tribe. Even though oftentimes that's what ends up happening. We have a tendency of kind of just closing down or closing in, and just, you know, thinking about us and those that are important to us.
Yeah, thinking we are the center of the universe.
Exactly.
Usually that's what's called nation state. So nation states are those countries that think are the center of the world, such as Japan, China, that they don't like to get influence from the outside world. So they like their culture. They want to keep it that way.
Right.
And
there's nothing wrong with that. But at the end of the day, we've made a lot of progress, and our society is way different from where we came from. So, you know, just do your best to be good to those people that are around you, even if you don't know them. You know, value respect and give that to people unless they show you otherwise. So usually the approach that I like to take is, you know, you give people the respect that they deserve without really knowing them. And unless they otherwise do something to take away that respect, then, you know, you just keep valuing people and respecting them, because you never know who they are.
Absolutely.
Not that they have to be anybody important, but still treat others the way you want to be treated.
Yeah, definitely. That's a really good rule to have. And another rule that I have personally is the door halfway open. So what it is, I think I talked about this before, maybe not in this podcast, but what the rule is that whenever you meet somebody new, regardless if you like them or not, leave the door halfway open to them. Look, be willing for them entering your life. You don't have to go trust 100%. You just let them get to know you, and you know them at some point. Like, don't close or don't shut it off. Like, this can work with anybody, actually. Like, this can work even with your exes. Like, don't close the door halfway open. Don't close fully. because you never what that person can bring into your life in the future. And that's something that is one of my rules, number one. And that's why I feel like my network keeps growing and growing to the point that I like got a new mentor, and like he been trying to like get me to his company, which is a really good company. Unfortunately, like they're already filling all the positions, but like he been mentoring, he be like telling me how to write my resume and stuff like that. But I wouldn't have met him if I wasn't willing to get to know him a little bit further. Because we did some mock interview, and then I hit him up like later. I was like, and then he liked me too. He was like, I really enjoy your like a mock interview, and I wanna help you out. And he's also like, he was an immigrant when he started, so he understands where I'm standing at.
Right.
So things like that, like you never know who's gonna bring value to your life. So just because you don't like a person doesn't mean that you need to shut the door completely. And I mean, I'm not saying that you gotta look for them. It's just that don't ignore them. Like don't ignore them completely. Like even to the people that don't like me or I don't like, I thought there's barely that sort of people, to be honest. I'm very likable, and I like a lot of people in my life. That's what they're there. But that's a really good rule to have. So why do I do it? Once again, is to build a stronger network, and I'm still young. I feel like people, they come and go, but you never know what can a person bring something to your life, like a value. Like he can become, I don't know, your next business partner, or maybe she can be your next girl, she can be your wife, or it's so many possibilities out there. And why does these possibilities exist? Which is part of the universe, man. It's just a flow. That's how the fucking universe works.
Yeah, that is very true. But there's something that I would piggyback off of that. I'm kind of not so good at building networks, just simply because if I don't really talk to you that often, we just don't talk. Now that, again, I don't close the door, right? It's not like I just completely ignore them if they ever hit me up again, but I don't go out of my way to find these people. And, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It really just depends the type of person that you are.
Right.
For me, that works for me, right? For you, same. It's a similar idea. You're building a bigger network. You talk to people, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're always talking to them or you're always trying to find them.
Right. Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's an effort between two people or multiple parties, and
you would be surprised that people that like they actually want to know you as well. And one thing that you can always like put it out there, or to like let them know, or let's say you meet somebody, right, and he's a professional, he's a professional. Let's say he works on Equinox or one of those big gyms that to be where being a personal trainer is really good at.
Right.
Now, one thing that you can always ask is that, what can I do for you? Or how can I help you? They're going to value it. Like, just put yourself in the other side. If somebody tells you that, you feel good. You feel like, like he's bringing value to me. Like he can help me. But if you do the same back, it's a mutual kind of like, like 50-50. Like every single relationship can be between, a couple. It can be between friends. It can be between acquaintances. It should be 50-50 at some point, because you cannot bring value only for you, but you have to bring value to the person. And that's why it's very important to stay on the purpose, because if you didn't have any value, then what can you offer, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, unless you again, don't go out of your way to just burn bridges for the sake of burning bridges. Just again, be the kind of person other people want to be or be around, and vice versa, right? Have those people around you, because that helps you. That kind of just builds this really positive and good vibe where you can thrive and flourish. But like, if you surround yourself with people that you don't like, just for the sake of surrounding yourself with people, that just becomes a really negative spiral. So be diligent about the people that you keep around you, but simultaneously, try to keep an open door policy, so that way, because you never know what might happen. I mean, we met, and it was the most random encounter, right? In a class, because I Well, I went up to you just to talk, just to
Yeah, it was
introduce
so
myself.
weird.
It was a weird intro.
He literally cut off a conversation between me and my friend. Like we were just having the conversation. He was sitting in the back. He's like, "Oh, you guys are Hispanics?" I was like,
"Yeah."
That was so
bro.
random. Like, bro, like you can tell we're Hispanics. But yeah, no. And after that, we started. We hit it off right off the bat because of the gym. Because I remember I used to go with remember Big Boy.
J.
Big Boy J.
J.
Yeah. So I used to go with him to the gym. And then he joined us. And then Jay, switched the career. So it was just me and Randy, and we hit it off. And that's what we started building the relationship. It was based on a mutual interest.
And it was random.
And it was so random, yeah.
You never know who you might meet and how it ends up. So, keep an open door policy, but again, at some point it has to be a shared thing. It's not just you giving value or you just taking value the whole time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you shouldn't be taking value the whole time because, people are going to, it just looks bad for you. You don't want to be on that position. But yeah, so going back to our question, why? Why is this important? Well, we are part of this life. Like one of my rules on life is if you cannot beat them, join them. I cannot do anything to even though I have so many questions about like your system, so many questions about how things are run, like so many questions about like the world itself or life itself. I cannot do anything about it sometimes. Like I cannot change it. I cannot change the fact that we live in a democracy. I cannot change the fact that we are in a pandemic, or I cannot change the fact that things are going crazy with global warming. I cannot change it. So I'd rather embrace it. I'd rather make the best out of it. Why? Because I value my life and I want to enjoy it. I want to have a good one.
And there's nothing you can really do. So
yeah.
Why would stress yourself out over something you can't control anymore?
Mm-hmm. So going back to that, be skeptical, ask the right questions. I would say all the questions are, I think, good, but ultimately you have to ask the right questions that affect your life and that has an impact on it. For example, why you're here and what is your purpose. So we can dive into like the who I am and the other two other questions another day, but you wouldn't know. It won't be tomorrow.
All right.
It's when I'm inspired.
Sounds good.
All right, let's jump right into the next question for today. Yeah, we have, should you do steroids?
There we go. All right. Should we do steroids? Well, it depends how big you want to get. I mean, sometimes you just got to do what you got to do, You want to look good, sometimes you got to make sacrifices.
Okay.
All right. So here's the thing with steroids. One of the biggest problems with steroids is simply the fact that it stops the production of your natural testosterone, or rather your natural hormones, specifically testosterone, because that's usually what steroids are. Just a big boost of testosterone that you usually inject. So when you stop producing your own testosterone, the problem becomes that if you ever stop taking steroids and you don't go through some sort of therapy in order to kind of kickstart your system back up, making testosterone, you stop producing testosterone altogether. And one of the other important things to note about steroids is that they have a tendency of enlarging organs, specifically the heart. You usually find complications with steroids in the heart with a lot of people. So like you'll find that like this bodybuilder that was like 30 something years old, he just died one day from some sort of heart attack or something like that.
Damn.
And you find out that his heart was super inflamed or really enlarged. And one of the things that ended up happening was that he just did so much steroids that his body just, it couldn't maintain or sustain that output for that long. So you definitely want to be careful with steroids. So here's another thing. As you get older, your natural testosterone levels start declining over time. It tends to happen, you know, we age, we get older.
Mm-hmm.
So there are procedures called, that's one of the procedures called TRT, testosterone replacement therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what people are doing nowadays in order to combat, I guess, aging and the declining testosterone levels. And done in a healthy way, it's similar to steroids, where you're being introduced into exogenous testosterone or exogenous hormones, so things that you're taking from outside the body in. But it's a healthy level. It's a healthy dose. At no point do you overpass or overconsume the steroid that you go into superhuman levels where you try to be a bodybuilder. You kind of just use enough to get yourself back to the point where you have the testosterone level of when you were like 30 or 25 years old. So like just being at a younger age in terms of testosterone production, that your body can maintain because it's been there at that point. But when you go over that point and your body's never been there, that's where the problem ends up becoming. So yeah, I would say stay away from steroids just because there's a lot of problems with it. There are actually different methods of using steroids. It's not just you injecting it, and there's different procedures. So some of them might be a little bit safer relative to others, but at the end of the day, you want to try to enhance the natural ways of you having high testosterone levels as opposed to you introducing something from the outside. Because like anything, it's like a drug, and you can get addicted to it, and then that becomes a problem. And then you have to maintain that output for however long you're doing it for, and then you get this warped perception of who you are and how you look because you're taking so much steroids that, you know, you think you're going to be this big for the rest of your life. And come to find out that at some point you stop taking steroids, you're not actually that big. So yeah, what do you got?
Well, in my opinion, well, actually, from what I know or heard or seen, the people who do steroids, they just physically good, you know, big, but when it comes to strength, they're usually the weakest, which is ironic. Now, to take a steroids, I feel like you have to ask yourself, like, why do I want to take them? Because like, if it's to like, kind of like impress a girl, to be honest, you don't need to look good to impress a girl. Like girls, they just gonna go with whoever has the most confident, whoever is more confident, whoever, you know, brings value to her life rather than who is the most physically appealing.
Mm-hmm.
It's different than, you know, like how we get attracted. Like usually for us, is the prettiest girl. I don't know about you, but
looks.
Hard work.
It's usually looks.
Yeah, it's usually looks. Yeah, played a huge role in our decision to date her. But in women, is a different situation. So if it's for that, it's not worth taking the risk because ultimately, the cases that I have seen or they heard is that they get unfertile because you're not producing your own testosterone. You're not going to be able to have kids one day if you want them. Now, also like when it comes to like being big, keep in mind, like Randy said, you're aging, man. You're getting old. So once you stop taking steroids or like working out, your muscles, they literally become like sags of empty. Like it's gonna be like fucking, you know, it's dead skin right there. Like that shit looks ugly.
You kind of like enlarge the skin, right, with all the muscle, and then eventually when you lose all the muscle and the skin expanded so much, there's nothing to fill out the space anymore.
Exactly. So be mindful of the consequences. You might look good for like 5 to 10 years, but what's after that? So, you know, think about like long-term investment. Is it really worth the investment? Plus you're spending a lot of money, a lot of resources, and you playing blindfolded with your health because you don't know how it's gonna affect you directly. Like Randy mentioned, it can go to your heart, it can go to your to
organs,
being you a man. Because like I know some people also like they cannot, you know, get an erection.
Another thing, right? But there's also something to mention, right? So like oftentimes you'll hear about like athletes taking steroids, right? And usually I like what's coming to mind are fighters, right?
Mhm.
You're usually going to find fighters. They're not usually particularly the biggest guys, right? Because they kind of need to be athletic and be able to move around and maneuver. But these guys do also take steroids. And the whole purpose of that is to just condition themselves, like with their workout routines, to kind of just go all out and just build an insane level of endurance, an insane level of strength, and an insane level of power in a short period of time. Because at the end of the day, the only thing that you're doing is just boosting your natural levels of what's already produced in your body. So it's just going to help you recover and perform better. So it's not necessarily that it's all about just building bigger muscles and looking super jacked. It can also be simply just performance. That's why it's called performance enhancement, right?
I really didn't know that. That's actually new to me.
Yeah. So it's not just all about building muscle and being bodybuilder, Arnold Schwarzenegger or something like that. But at the end of the day, those people always have issues as well. There are always issues with some part of their body, their heart, their liver, or something like that. They're always having to hide around what they're doing, right? So whenever there's any kind of examination, they usually have to get a double, right? So they have to get somebody else to give them the urine sample so that they don't get caught. So in that situation, obviously, because it's professional and there's a lot of stuff and a lot of legal litigation involved, you're going to always have to do shit like that. But in your day-to-day life, there's no need to be stressing out about something like this. Again, there's a lot of ways to naturally boost your levels of hormones and testosterone. You kind of just have to figure those out. And right off the bat, I'll tell you that one of those things is performing exercises, doing exercises, lifting weights, eating good, eating balanced diets, sleeping well. Usually these are this is the staple in order for you to build off a really good level of testosterone or hormone levels. They avoid eating processed foods because, like we mentioned in the previous topic, introducing stuff that's processed usually has a tendency of affecting your hormones, boosting more of your estrogen levels and kind of bringing down your testosterone levels. So again, there's a lot of things that you can do naturally without needing to step into the realm of steroids and using drugs in order to get yourself to another level. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely. There's some risks, like we mentioned, there are health risks, and it will be up to you. Like I personally wouldn't take it. That's me.
I would say I would take it later on in life, though, when I'm older and my natural levels are really low for whatever reason. But again, that would be as a therapy and not necessarily as me trying to do performance enhancement. Just get me back to like the levels of testosterone of where I'm at now, but not when I'm 30, as opposed to me trying to, again, be superhuman.
Okay, that's cool, I guess. But we will see. Like, absolutely, like, if it's some medical condition and you have to take it by medical advice, then by all means, I think
of course
you should. Okay, let's move on to the next topic, last topic of the day. Why is there so much interest in cryptocurrency at the moment? What do you think is driving the hype behind it?
So right now it's sitting, I think, 19,000 again, 19, right under. Yeah. So it's been holding decently. Yeah, it hasn't pulled back. Well, I mean, it's pulled back, but it bounced right back up. So that's cool. I guess like with anything, like take, for example, gold, right? The whole thing with gold is that it's a hedge or a way to balance the scale in terms of the economy. So if the economy starts doing poorly, gold has a tendency of going up because there's a lot of uncertainty in the economy. Crypto has a similar thing. It's a new currency, right? And there's a lot to it in terms of its complexity, because usually you would find that there's something backing the money aspect of an economy. But with crypto, it's kind of just what backs it as a currency is the fact that it's really hard to obtain. And there's a limited amount of them. So it could be, there's a scarce value, and scarcity always brings up the value. So I would say that the interest in crypto is simply due to the economic uncertainty of the times.
Mm-hmm. Right. So cryptocurrency, it's kind of like an alternative way to decentralize monetary transactions. So in a way that, there's no government, there's no middleman in between of each transaction. So it kind of facilitates that, give us also like a global currency, because Bitcoin can be used anywhere in the world as long as you have a computer.
Mm-hmm.
So usually why it is seen like it's like not lately, like before, why is like really bad, or kind of like I've seen it on the dark side, because it's been around since like for years, like decades. We just didn't know about it.
Didn't it start in 2009 or something like that?
No, it was before that, because because cryptocurrency itself been around. But so the reason why it was look bad, yeah, you're right. It was Bitcoin is created in 2009.
Okay.
And it was the first decentralized cryptocurrency. Now, the reason why it was looked bad is because it was used mainly on the black market, or usually on the deep web, like, to not be able to trace your transactions, not be able to, whatever purchase you made you're not going to be able to make the transaction. Like, nobody knows that you're using it. Right. And it's very, very interesting because, like, the encryption itself, it's complicated and fascinating, because I took a class about it. But why there's so much hype about it? Because as we become a more and more connected global society, we are looking for an alternative to, kind of make our transactions, make our trades. And dollar has been the superpower in these past years. Dollar first started with based on gold. So, like the dollar was equivalent to the value of gold at the moment. But with times passed, I think, I don't remember the exact day, but it's usually like in the mid-19th centuries when gold crashed. That's when they transitioned to gold, not to gold, to oil. So right now, it's based on the oil prices. And it's been dominant ever since, because, it had a lot of influence. But now China is competing. Because before, to buy oil, you had to pay in dollars, regardless what country you are. You had to like exchange your monetary system, money that you use. For example, in China is yen, so you had to exchange it to dollars and buy the amount of oil you want. That's how it's been this past decades. So now China said no, I'm gonna use yen to pay for oil, like directly. So that creates that kind of like what's it called, tension between those two countries, because they're trying to like become a superpower or hyperpower and dominate the market. So the people are, financial industries, they're stepping more and more away from a country money, monetary system that controls the prices of how much your paper money is worth. So cryptocurrency is becoming the alternative. And there are talks to, rather than decentralize it, kind of keep a semi-centralized system. But we'll see how that goes. Like, Bitcoin has been growing so much, because now also not only seen as a alternative, to pay for things, and there are countries that are actually using Bitcoins, a cryptocurrency, to pay for stuff, like the same way that we pay for our goods with dollars. They're paying it. I think it's Norwegian. It's a European country. I'm not sure which one it is, but it's one of them. But now investors are looking at it as a great potential investment for the future. So that's why it has been rising. I remember on 2017, end of 2017, I think it was, when the bubble really, really went high. It was because nobody knew about it, and news were hyping it. So there's always a catalyst. Back in the days, it was that big catalyst, right? That was the catalyst that needed to drive that prices to over 19,000. But today, there's no much hype about it, but we are in a pandemic, and there is not a stable economy so far here in the US especially. So that it's gonna distrust the investors point of view to invest in their economy. So they're rather invested on alternative. So usually it used to be gold, but right now cryptocurrency has the potential. So there's so much hype about it because, you know, it's an alternative to investment. It's an alternative to a global monetary system, which I find fascinating.
Yep, for sure. So we'll see how this goes. There's a bunch of different cryptocurrencies that popped up after Bitcoin, but Bitcoin is the biggest one. I don't know. At some point, there'll probably be more of an. I mean, they're starting to pass more stuff for Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies to be more accepted. So yeah, I think maybe little by little we'll get to that point where cryptocurrency becomes one of the alternative sources that you can use to buy and sell services, right? It's already there for some places. Little by little, it'll be more accepted on a global scale. And yeah, and if you have Bitcoin, you know, you can maybe toss us a couple of them. Why not? You already have a couple, right? Sharing is caring. That if you have Bitcoins out there, you can just pass it to us, just like one or two.
Absolutely.
Sharing is caring.
Yeah, either are. But, you know, it's a really, really interesting topic to dive into. But let's jump right into the updates. Sorry. So we don't make this too long. Yesterday's length was really good. Half an hour. But on my end, let me get it started with the COVID update. So things are getting worse in the US. More than 3,000 people died yesterday. So from the coronavirus, and almost 107,000 were hospitalized, both records. So we are actually beating the numbers from back on April. The markets, they took a big hit yesterday. And this is due to the negotiations of the coronavirus relief package. There's not a clear sign. Sorry, I need to cough.
Well, he's gone. So yeah, I guess we are screwed. Oh, what's going on over there? Damn.
Yeah, I'm good. Just needed some water. I was talking too much. But yeah, so the economy, I mean, the market took a hit because of that. We'll see if there's any progress today in the Senate or in the House, I mean. Okay, good. Oh, boom, the IPO yesterday. Do you keep an eye on DoorDash?
DoorDash, yeah, I saw that. That thing blasted off into another dimension.
Yeah, so in my news it says if the week's IPO were a music festival, DoorDash will be the opener. That rocket so hard, everyone started motion. In the first day of trading, shares popped up to 86%, giving it a market cap of 72 billion. That's impressive for an IPO. We will see how it does. Today we have a Airbnb, so I'm definitely looking at that. But we will see, you know, people haven't stopped traveling, by the way. People still are traveling in a different ways. So it has a lot of potential, in my opinion, especially because they control the experience kind of aspect of the travel. And I use it. Everybody use it. Facebook is getting a lawsuit to break up because a monopoly, trust concerns and stuff like that. So similar issue as with Google. Facebook has become too powerful in the online presence. So with Instagram, WhatsApp, and Facebook, it dominates, you know, the communication aspects of social media. So what it is that there are some trust issues, trust concerns that about giving a company too much information of the people. So they want to break it apart. So we'll see what happens. Similar issues been going on with Google, because Google, you know, controls a lot. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. Other than that, Japan and officials said the government will invest in AI matchmaking program to boost the country's failing birth rate. So Japan, this is some of the issues that they, you know, confront a lot. So there's no young people, like their birth rates are decreasing rather than increasing. And that's what happens when you are kind of like a nation state, because you so kind of like you hold on to your traditions a lot, right? And in Japan, what it is like you have to be work. I feel like that's why I'm so attracted to that culture. Like I fucking love Japan, and I want to go there like someday. But I want. It's like, you know, I want to go so badly, but at the same time I'm kind of scared to go because I don't want it to not be what I expected, right?
Right.
For videos and stuff, like I seen it and I love it, but the culture itself, like the samurai movies, I used to love watching samurai movies or animes. But you know, one of the biggest problems they have is that they so close up from the external world that they don't allow too much, you know, tourism or too much kind of like immigration. So in men, usually like they focus so much in their career, so much in work, that they forget that there's you know, there are girls out there. But yeah.
Nah, bro, it's all about the purpose, man.
Facts. They're too into the purpose. And that's a really like you know, like in Japan, there's like these little motels, like love motels, like literally are rooms, and it's like a huge business over there. I was looking into that. It's crazy. But yeah, so Google announced its top trending searches of 2020, and well, I got a few for you, few interesting ones. So on the news category, we have election results, coronavirus, and a stimulus check. Right. On people, we have Joe Biden, Kim Jong-un, and Kamala Harris. So I feel like nobody knew who Kamala Harris was. I didn't. TV shows, Tiger King, Cobra Kai, Arsak. Bro, Cobra Kai is the shit.
Good show.
There's an Ecuadorian actor in there, so fuck with it. How to make hand sanitizer, a face mask with fabric, whipped coffee. Coffee addicts out there. I'm one of them. Guilty. I'm back with coffee, by the way. Why were chainsaws invented? What the fuck? Why is chainsaw? Why were chainsaw invented? Why is there a coin shortage? What's up?
Chainsaws, you saying?
Chainsaws, yeah, chainsaws.
Got it.
That's interesting. That's funny. That's the number one, by the way. So why is there a coin shortage? Why was George Floyd arrested? Where is this is a funny one. Where is my stimulus money? Where is my refund? Where is Kansas City? I'm not gonna lie, I don't fucking know where Kansas City is at. So
somewhere in the middle of the country.
It's a whole new country. How to cut men's hair at home. I'm guilty on this because I made my sister cut my hair. How to plop hair. I don't know what that is. How to color your hair at home. Lyrics. You will be surprised. WAP. W-A-P. Definitions. WAP.
Oh, you want me to define it or what?
Huh?
You're saying WAP. Do you want me to define it?
No. That's the section that the people search for. That's kind of interesting. I thought it was very clear on the music video. But cool. Apparently not. But yeah.
All right. Well, from my end, there's not really much to talk about. Again, the overall uncertainty in the markets is bringing everything down. So, electric cars, travel, not really seeing anything that's particularly green right now. So yeah, just stay safe, try not to get COVID, and try not to spread it. That's pretty much it, man.
Yo, stay safe. Coronavirus is real, and it's getting worse. So take the precautions and don't get infected. Don't infect others. And peace out.